Hey, it's Dr. Nuesse from EasyDotPhysicals.com, back with another video. This one we are talking about comments made by the current Vice President of the United States and the Democratic nominee for president. As of the posting of this video, she might be president at the time you're watching this video. Comments that Kamala Harris just recently made on a podcast regarding marijuana legalization. So in this video, I'm going to actually show you clips from the podcast, and the clips where she was talking about marijuana legalization is only about 30 seconds long. So I'll show you the clip and then I'll give you my thoughts about what she said. And I will link the full version of the podcast in the description box below, as well as all of the ways that we help people be better prepared to take and hopefully pass a drug test. So if you've got a drug test coming up, please check out those links as well. So as far as I know, and I think I'm correct about this, this is the first time that Kamala Harris has spoken about marijuana legalization legislation since she's actually become the Democratic nominee for the presidency. She's made comments previous to her becoming the Democratic nominee about marijuana legalization, and I've done a full video on that and Donald Trump's opinion on marijuana legalization, but these are the first comments that she's making since she's been the Democratic nominee. And I think it's first important to understand where she's making this comment. So she made this comment, or made these comments, on a very specific podcast, and I'm going to read from Apple Music, where the podcast is hosted. This is the All the Smoke podcast. All the Smoke pairs two of the most outspoken and controversial players of their time, known as fiery, intense competitors during their on-court careers. Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson are now two of the most widely respected voices by today's crop of NBA stars. So this is like a basketball podcast. And again, this is just my opinion, but I think the fact that she was on this podcast kind of framed how she answered the question when the question about cannabis marijuana legalization came up. All right, so I'm going to show you this very first clip. It's only about 10 seconds long, and then I will come back with my comments.
Cannabis?
What are your views on cannabis?
I just feel strongly people should not be going to jail for smoking weed. And we know historically what that has meant and who has gone to jail.
Mm-hmm. All right, so just after this very short clip, I think it's clear that Kamala Harris knows her audience, knows who the people watching this podcast are. She alluded to, but she didn't directly point out, the fact that there are historical inequalities when it comes to marijuana convictions. She alluded to it. Again, she didn't bring up anything racial or anything like that directly. She certainly alluded to it, though. I'm not sure if she would answer the question exactly the same if she was on a different type of podcast. So the first statements that she makes when she's questioned about cannabis, marijuana, are about decriminalizing marijuana. She states that people shouldn't be going to jail for smoking weed, and she's made these type of comments plenty of times in the past. So not a big departure from things that she has said in the past, but very specific in the first part of her answer was that people shouldn't be going to jail, that marijuana should be decriminalized. All right, and now I'm going to show you the next clip. Again, it's only about 10 seconds long. Again, she only spoke on marijuana for about 10 seconds or about 30 seconds of the entire podcast. So I'll show you this next clip and then again come back with my thoughts.
Second, I just think we have come to a point where we have to understand that we need to legalize it and stop criminalizing this behavior. And I've actually, this is not a new position for me. I have felt for a long time we need to legalize it. So that's where I am on that.
All right, so in this clip, she states with no ambiguity whatsoever that she's in favor of marijuana legalization. She says legalization. It comes directly out of her mouth. And then she also doubles down on her opinion that it shouldn't be a crime. She says that marijuana shouldn't be treated as a crime, or it shouldn't be criminalized, which seems a bit redundant. I mean, if you're saying it should be legalized, then of course it wouldn't be a crime to use it. But she definitely states that marijuana should be legal. She's in favor of marijuana legalization. All right, and just a few other points, again, things that we can glean from this very short clip is she doesn't give any hint of any action plan. So what does she actually want to do? She simply gives her opinion that marijuana should be legal. What does it actually mean? What does legalization mean? Does it mean this current process of rescheduling that President Biden started so many years ago? Is that good enough? Is this rescheduling process good enough? Full recreational legalization? What does she mean by legalization? So she seems like she wants voters to know, or the voters that will be watching this podcast to know, that she is in favor of legalization, but she's playing it very close to the vest as far as actions that she would take or what legalization actually means. She spoke on other subjects. Again, this podcast in its entirety was, I think, about an hour long. And she spoke on the economy and all different subjects and gave more specific answers. But with marijuana, she was very quick to say, I think it should be legalized. And that was basically it. And you could see it at the end of her statement. She was very quick to move on to the next subject. She basically at the end said, all right, those are my thoughts on this subject. Now let's move on. So I don't really know why that would be. I think it's pretty well understood that those on the Democratic side of the aisle there are more likely to be in favor of marijuana legalization. So I don't know why her speaking on it would be perceived in her eyes as a bad thing. But again, you could see it right for yourself at the end of the video. She was ready to move on to the next question. All right, I hope you enjoyed this quick video. Again, stay subscribed whenever new information comes out about marijuana reform or legalization. I make update videos. Till next time, everybody, stay safe.